Good morning. Good morning, everybody. Good morning. I'm a little frazzled. I got to be honest with you. 1:30 in the morning. You got NBA trades of the consequence that the one that we saw this morning go down as Kevin Durant is now a member of the Phoenix Suns. We got you covered that for the next couple hours right here on the Better Sports Network. You're locked into Moose and Keith. He's Keith Irizarry. I'm Mark Malusis. And Keith, you know, we had the debate about whether or not KD would be a Brooklyn Net game one next year of the regular season. I thought he'd get traded in the summer. I didn't think he necessarily would get traded about 13 hours after we had that conversation yesterday.
Yeah, he's gone. Were you awake at 1:30 in the morning when this was going down? Okay, me neither. So this morning, alarm goes off. I always set it for 6:48 a.m. Yes, I'm a weirdo. I always put it on not a 0, not a 5. And I grab my phone, I turn it off, and the first thing that pops up is Kevin Durant blockbuster trade. I'm like, what? Okay. And that changed our morning a little bit. Did you see the odds for both of these teams to win the championship, what they went from?
I did not. No, I'm sorry.
So the Nets on February 1st were 8-1 odds to win the NBA title.
50-1 now?
100-1 now.
Yeah.
And for the Suns, as of I think it was 3 days ago, they were 18-1. They're now the second shortest odds at 5-1.
Yeah, I mean, it's a trade. I mean, and listen, you read the Woj piece on ESPN. It's a trade that obviously the new owner, the Phoenix Suns, steps in and does a deal that, you know, the Phoenix was unwilling to do under the previous ownership, which was giving up, you know, Mikal Bridges and Cam Johnson and 4 first-round picks and a pick swap in 2008 and doing all those things. So it was an unbelievable trade when you look at it from a lot of perspectives. Number one, it's a deal that Phoenix has to make, right? Yeah. And you look at these trades, when you look at superstars that get traded and we spent a lot of time this week talking about Kyrie Irving and, you know, and he's now a member of the Dallas Mavericks, and he played last night in Los Angeles against the Clippers without Luka on the court, as we discussed yesterday, as he's dealing with an ankle injury. But anytime you trade the legendary player, you lose. Like, I was trying to think about it. I sent out a tweet about, 45 minutes to an hour ago. It all fell apart in 6 days.
Crazy.
Like, the timeline of this is insane. Like, in 6 days, the Brooklyn Nets went from, as you mentioned, 8-1 to win the NBA title, a team that went 18-2 in the month of December, where Jacques Vaughn was the NBA Eastern Conference Coach of the Month, to where they were making up ground, where Kyrie was playing splendid basketball. When healthy, Kevin Durant was doing what Kevin Durant always does, which is being one of the elite scorers the NBA has ever seen. And now we're sitting here on February the 9th, and it's over. And it is over, and the Brooklyn Nets have nothing that they gained from all of it. All of it. I mean, the summer of 2019, when Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving decided to go to the Brooklyn Nets, and you thought, okay, this is going to be great. Kevin wanted a new challenge. You wanted to leave Golden State. Kyrie, obviously, his time in Boston was an unmitigated failure. And the goal was to win an NBA championship. And they came here and accomplished nothing together. And that is, they won one playoff series. I mean, Brooklyn Net fans still talk about, Kevin Durant's, size 13-foot sneaker, being on the line against the Milwaukee Bucks. I mean, that's what they hold their hat on. I mean, they go back to irrelevancy in New York. They were still irrelevant. I mean, when you compare them to the Knicks in terms of popularity in New York City, but they accomplished nothing. And for Joe Tsai and Sean Marks, to make all the trades they've made, and the one guy left standing is Ben Simmons, is embarrassing. I mean, think about that. The one guy that is left is Ben Simmons. At one point in time, you had Harden, Durant, and Kyrie Irving. They played 16 games together. 16 games together. And they did nothing. And you trade Kevin Durant, and I get that you're getting the picks, and the Nets have done
great. You 4 first-round picks. What are they going to amount to? We have no idea.
I have no idea. It plays to the strength of the organization. It's a draft and develop organization. We've seen that. We've seen that with Cam Thomas. Cam Thomas has gone for 40 or more points 3 straight games. First time a player in NBA history has ever done that at the age of 21. Fantastic. But it is stunning like as a Knick fan, I was certainly jealous. I think there were a lot of Knick fans that were jealous when both of those guys decided to go to Brooklyn. It is amazing how big of a failure it is. It's one of the great failures in the history of professional sports, not just New York City. It just is. There's no other way to cut it. That is where the Brooklyn Nets are, and they're left with a lot of, good players. They've got good players. They don't have great players. They're not close to winning an NBA championship. Their odds obviously have dropped precipitously. They're now 100 to 1, as Keith mentioned, to win an NBA championship. And it all did not work. And
Mikal Bridges is fine. Cam Johnson is fine. I mean, Finney Smith is fine, and Dinwiddie is fine. I mean, they're watchable. The Nets will be watchable.
Yeah, but are you going to go? But here,
but I'm not paying my money to go to because that was my next thing too. I'm not paying my own money to go get tickets to a game and sit there and watch that. No, thank you. I'm good.
Right.
There's no box office appeal to the Brooklyn Nets whatsoever. They have sold to their fans that we will put a team out on the floor that might win some games, might not, and we're hoping to be able to draft well down the road. How often does it work with all of these draft picks? All of these teams that continue to just grab all these draft picks. Oh, we have 11 first-round picks in the next 4 years, and we have this and that. Who cares? I want something tangible. I'll take the tangible thing. Listen, I had a friend of mine text on our friend thread that was saying, "Oh, the Suns got fleeced. The Suns overpaid." Who cares? I don't care if they overpaid. What are they doing with those 4 first-round picks when you've got Booker, who is an all-NBA performer, Chris Paul on his last legs trying to finally get a championship? You already paid Ayton. You know he's there. So give me that foursome right there. I know what the tangible thing is. I've got 4 either superstars or stars or guys like Ayton that are on the burgeoning, border of being a star. I think the Suns went all in. And by the way, they're still all in for next year too, because all 4 of those players can be there next year also. This is a coup.
The Suns have never won an NBA title.
I know. And now this new owner who's like 12 years old is saying, let's do it.
Right, a guy that's a billionaire that was kind of the 13th guy for Tom Izzo at Michigan State. It's an unbelievable story, and it's a case of him. And I saw a story, I forget what it was, 60 Minutes, or maybe it was on ESPN, where they did a story where he kind of took the teachings of Tom Izzo when he was just kind of a walk-on player at Michigan State for the Spartans, and used that in his line of work in his business, and it's worked. I mean, the guy's a billionaire, and now he owns the Phoenix Suns. Listen, the Suns went all in. So we're going to complain about the amount of picks that they gave up to go get a legendary. I mean, we're talking about an immortal player, an iconic player in Kevin Durant. And you went out there and got him in a wide open Western Conference. We've talked about it time and time again. Does Golden State look like they're anywhere close to repeating as NBA champs? A lot of people are going to say, I need to see it in order to believe it with the Denver Nuggets, right? And then you throw in Dallas. Do you really think Kyrie and Luka, as we've discussed, as we chatted with Geltzeiler earlier in the week right here on Better Sports Network, are they really going to defend to stop anybody? They might score a ton, but they're going to give up a ton of points as well because they're going to play little to no defense. So the Suns are taking their chance. Plus, they needed a cultural change. Like they just did. I mean, after they got embarrassed last year in the NBA playoffs, everyone said basically the bubble has burst. It's over. They needed to change some things. That organization had a hard time living that down. They had the issues with the owner during the course of the offseason. Obviously, they've got new ownership that steps in. How do you basically change the perception of the Phoenix Suns as being one of these teams that is, quote unquote, gutless or folded up the tents, whatever it might be, issues, criticisms of guys like DeAndre Ayton is, you go get a guy that's a finisher and Kevin Durant that wanted to be there in Phoenix, and you go get the deal and give up the draft picks. If the Phoenix Suns win an NBA championship in the next 3 years, are you really going to care about the 2029 and first-round draft choice that they gave up to the Brooklyn Nets? Do you really care about the 2025? I mean, it doesn't matter. Like, that doesn't matter. Like, that whole stuff is complete and utter nonsense. When you look at it, the Suns went all in. It's a great move for the Suns. They get a guy as critical as we've all been of KD at times, Keith, about his sensitivity to certain things, to criticism. and having rabbit ears, there's no denying this. He loves basketball, lives it, eats it, breathes it every single day. He's one of those guys similar to LeBron James that wants to be the best basketball version of himself every time he steps on the court. That guy is who the Phoenix Suns acquired at 1:30 this morning. That guy is the one that was hoping to deliver an NBA championship in Brooklyn. It was an unmitigated failure in Brooklyn, and now he hopes to rise again with the Suns.
By the way, well done by you. I like the way you worded that. By the way, plus 460 now, the Suns to win the NBA championship. Yeah. So it's gone from 5-1 to plus 460. Slight change there. If anybody can find it in our chat, I'd love it. I obviously, us talking right now, a little difficult for me to find this. See if you guys can find on any of the apps, can we bet the exact NBA final? So because what I want to bet right now is I want to bet
Celtics.
No, Suns and Bucks.
Suns and Bucks.
I think we're getting part 2 of that.
Well,
so I would love to.
Well, we were talking about that with Dave earlier in the week on Monday because he has the exact Super Bowl matchup set up. And he does it for the Stanley Cup and does it for the NBA Finals, but he said it hasn't been put up yet, exact matchups yet.
Yeah, I was wondering if maybe it popped up. If anybody sees it, let us know.
Sure, I check every single day. I'm sure Dave does.
Yeah, we should just text him, bother him while he's in Arizona. I would throw one thing out, by the way, about the Kevin Durant thing on the day after we all talked LeBron. Just everybody who hates LeBron, just remember that Durant is hopping from team to team to team, and he's forcing his way out of places, and he's jumping on with other stars.
Right. I mean,
out there.
Right. In this instance, it's not like KD came out and requested a deal.
You don't think he requested a deal?
I do. No, I believe that
they met, right? So they met on Tuesday, and suddenly everything changed. Tuesday.
No, it didn't. No, the Nets told him that he was not going to be traded, and they knew he wanted to go to Phoenix. And then the Suns made the Nets an offer, to steal a Godfather line that they couldn't refuse. I mean, because the reporting was like last night, right around 11 o'clock Eastern time, the Suns owner went to the GM and basically said, "Give the Nets a call again. Let's see if we can get this done."
Are you sure? Because I thought that after that yesterday there was a report that Kevin Durant said he wanted out.
No, I did not. The Nets said that he did not want to get traded. They were not trading him.
No, I know what the Nets said, but I thought I read something yesterday that said Durant wanted out.
No, I didn't see that. Maybe I missed it, but I did not see that.
I'm looking really fast. I don't
know.
Well, I think if we're gonna do the whole fair thing, I would shred Durant also. Jacob Assa1 is saying that ESPN reported differently that Durant wanted out.
No, I didn't. Well, maybe.
Yeah, I did not. I thought I saw something, but I don't know where it was. It could have been on social media, whatever.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, according to the Woj report, that's not. And Adrian does a great job reporting it. What I read this morning on his piece about how the entire deal went down. They knew that he preferred to go to Phoenix because of the conversations they had last summer. But they had initially told Kevin Durant that they're not trading him, that the goal was to try and build around him. They tried to make a trade with the Toronto Raptors. They had talent around them, trying to appease them, stuff like that. But I guess, they came to a scenario where the Suns were highly aggressive. Monday, Tuesday, the Suns felt like there was no trade to be had. Yeah. And then all of a sudden it picked up steam on Wednesday and the deal goes down before today's 3:00 Eastern time NBA trade deadline. So,
what's interesting now are the next steps in the West, by the way, too, because like the interesting part now is the next steps in the West. Because you mentioned like the hierarchy in the West.
Yes.
The Nuggets are the top team in the West, but I feel like a lot of people don't believe in them. The Grizzlies would be the second team. A lot of people don't believe in them. Clippers, a lot of people don't believe in them. There are murmurs that the Jazz are just going to buy Russell Westbrook out. Maybe he just signs with the Clippers, gets added on there. If I'm the Grizzlies with all the future first round picks that I have amassed over the years, I'm making a move today because you believe with Ja and Jaren and Desmond Bane that this is a team, and Dylan Brooks, a team that can battle in the playoffs and go far in the playoffs. I'm calling Toronto. I'm finding out OG Anunoby as a guy that might be available. I'm calling Chicago and finding out if any of those guys are available. I'm calling Toronto even more and asking about, maybe not Van Vliet wouldn't fit there, but a guy like Pascal Siakam. I think this is the time you go all in. I do. I think if you're one of the 4 or 5 teams in the West, that believe it can be won, I think there are things that can be happened there. Tony's now putting in there. Here we go. So we got it. As per ESPN, all NBA forward Kevin Durant was traded from the Brooklyn Nets to the Phoenix Suns, blah, 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 blah. And it says that he requested the trade.
Okay.
Second requested trade in 8 months.
Oh, there you go.
There you go. There you go. He's a cupcake, just like Russell Westbrook said that he was, right? I'm just kidding. Not. I'm joking. Stop. I'm kidding. I just really would love all the vitriol that everyone spits towards certain players to it be even. Make it even. Kevin Durant is a generationally great player and is now on his fourth team, and he's forced his way out of every single one.
Yeah, I mean,
and the softest one was the jump. Yeah,
well, he left Golden State in free agency.
Soft.
He left Oklahoma City.
Soft.
Yeah,
I mean, if we're gonna do that, right?
I don't compare him to LeBron James.
But there are people that will.
Yeah, but I don't.
I'm glad you don't. Yeah,
I don't. But it bothers Kevin Durant that people don't compare him to LeBron James. He's not. Yeah. No. I mean, he's not. I mean, he's also. I mean, listen, we don't have to go down the path of who's handled themselves better. In scenarios, I think if you're Kevin Durant, in this instance, I can understand. I mean, what are you gonna?
What are you holding on for? What are you you're gonna waste 3 months of your career?
I think, if there's no sense of direction, if there's, as you saw this morning, that there was a lack of trust between the player and the organization. They did not have the camaraderie like you see out in Golden State. You see all those things. Like, I don't know. I think this more falls on the failure of the Brooklyn Nets in this instance of not rectifying and making everything. And they got into the business of superstars. I think for the Brooklyn Nets, they took their shot and blame goes all the way around. In the end, once Kyrie got traded, I was surprised that it happened. I thought it was going to happen during the course of the summer. Not surprised that Kevin Durant is no longer a Brooklyn Net. I'm just surprised by the timing of it.
Let's sneak in a call here. Obviously, a lot of people want to discuss this. Baby J is on with us. Let's see if he's going video or just audio. Just audio. Okay.
Baby J,
what's up, man?
Buddy? What's going on, gentlemen? Just audio. I'm driving.
Fair enough. Drive safely.
I'm not like that guy, Jay Kabasi. He don't care for himself.
No, I think he just doesn't care about the other people around him. He wants to make sure that we all see him. Yeah.
So, obviously, I'm calling about the big trade in New York,
Josh Hart, baby.
I can't believe the Knicks got Josh Hart. That's a good move, man.
It's a good move.
Solid move.
I think
we're just sitting there riding. That's a pretty good deal right there, man. So
I'm a little excited about that. And I don't know if you heard the rumors that Obi might be moved today for Chris Durant.
I think Obi is going to get moved today. I do. I think he's in the doghouse with Tibbs. Tibbs isn't a fan.
They're talking about sending him to the Pacers for Durant. I'll do that right now. I think that's a good move too. I don't think Obi Toppin is good at all. At all. That guy does nothing good. There's nothing he does good. He's what's his name? Kenny Skywalker Part 2, man. Got a slam dunk championship, and that's about it. Get out of here, buddy. We don't need that.
Fair, but I don't really know what you're getting out of Chris Duarte, right? Like, he hasn't proven anything either.
He's better than Obi. That's just my opinion. I'm not. Obi doesn't do anything. There's nothing Obi Toppin does well, man. He doesn't dribble well. He don't shoot well.
He dunks well.
I can get a guy Rucker Park. But that's I just wanted to talk about the real trade in New York because nobody in New York cares about the Nets. You guys know that.
No, that's not. This is more. I mean, this is huge. I get where you're going, Baby J. Josh Hart's a nice trade by the Knicks. We'll see exactly what else they do before the 3:00 NBA trade deadline.
He doesn't fix their outside
when
shooting.
When you look at the impact of Durant is just unquestioned. I mean,
the
NBA.
I'm just being facetious.
We know you're doing this a little tongue in cheek. We get
absolutely. I woke up this morning. That was the first thing I saw on the news. Like, holy crap! They traded Kevin Durant, and that's what they got back. Like, in my opinion, if you're trading Durant, whoever's taking Durant, I'm saying you got to take this bum ass Ben Simmons with you. You got to take him with you. And if you're trading to the Suns, you at least got to get Ayton back. Like, I don't know.
I'm with you, Baby J. I'm surprised that they weren't able to wrangle DeAndre Ayton out of it. Like, Mikal Bridges is nice and he doesn't miss games and that's great and all, but he's a perfect fit for a team that can win a championship, not as a lead dog.
I don't want to pay DeAndre Ayton. I'll pass.
But you got to get something. It's Kevin Durant. Like, I'm not just trading
anything.
I understand, but what is DeAndre? I'm not a huge Ayton fan. I'm just not. I don't think the Phoenix Suns are huge Ayton fans either. I think they would love to get rid of DeAndre Ayton.
But if I'm trading Durant, I want the moon and the stars back, and I'm not settling.
But here, you're never going to get. When you trade the star player, you're never going to get enough.
No, I agree.
You're never going to get a comparable talent.
But even if you get a young star, let's just throw the Orlando Magic out there. Let's just say you would have traded him to the Magic and got Ben Carroll back.
You're never going to do that.
But I mean, the Magic wouldn't do that either.
No, I know that.
Would basically say I'm never going to play for Orlando. The Nets took care of Kevin Durant and put him in a spot, and the Phoenix Suns gave up. By all accounts, I mean, you look at executives. They'll tell you that the Phoenix Suns gave a lot. They gave up impactful players. No, I mean, listen, Mikal Bridges could have been Defensive Player of the Year last year. Cam Johnson was a nice wing player. They got 4 first-rounders, a pick swap. They're going to probably flip. I would imagine that there's more trades coming down from Sean Marks to add more young assets to this team. But anytime you lose those deals, that's it. I mean, because you're never going to you're never going to get a guy that's going to equate to what Kevin Durant is, who's a top 5 player in the NBA.
Agree. I agree. It's just me. That's just me. Like I just can't give up Durant. But the one thing I will say about the Nets, what they do better than the Knicks, they do draft well and they do find talent. So I guess if you're a Net fan today, the 17 of them that live in New York City, you can hang your hand on that, man.
17 of them. You are something else. Drive safe, man. Good stuff as always. 17 of them. Listen, Moose, I think you nailed it. Like, when you trade a star, you never get back what that star is worth. You just don't. Because it's not like, because you're not going to trade Kevin, like, all right, so let's say for argument's sake, Kevin Durant says, I really want to be in Phoenix. Like, there was no way that Phoenix was trading Devin Booker for Durant. Do you know what I mean? Like, that was never happening. So you're never getting the value there. Now if you're the Brooklyn Nets, hey, you know what? You wake up today and you go, Durant is gone, Kyrie's gone, we have all these draft picks. We either need to turn these draft picks into one or two of those guys over the next 2 or 3 years, meaning drafting them, right? Or we need to flip those draft picks at some point to another team that is looking to unload stars and retry this again. My guess is this team is going to bottom out for the most part, and they're going to hope that these picks turn in. At least they need one of these picks to turn into a star.
Yeah, I'd probably agree with that. I mean, they need one of those guys, and we're building an organization that's healthy enough to give you the opportunity to get a star player in free agency, and that's what happened. Unfortunately, they lost their way, and they bowed to the wills of certain superstars and big time players, and they changed everything. They went from they threw Kenny Atkinson under the bus. They said basically he was a draft and develop guy. They bring in Steve Nash. He was awful as a coach, couldn't really be an NBA head coach. And now you got Jacques Vaughn. It's just, that's where the Brooklyn Nets are. And it just didn't work. Obviously, don't need to hear from Kyrie Irving after the game last night saying that he's happy that Kevin Durant got out of there as well. I mean, Kyrie is just a complete and utter fraud. It's impossible to take Kyrie Irving seriously. It just is.
I liked his bucket cap though yesterday in the post.
Yeah, he's just such a clown.
I think
such
it's time
a clown.
To bring back
It's just amazing. It really is. Jay Cabas is with us. What's going on, Jay? How you doing, buddy? Good morning.
Yeah, we're bringing Jay Cabas on. Let's see, is he video or audio? All right, I would think he has to be video, right? Because he has to.
There he is. What's up, Jay?
Upstage Baby Jay. That's what it is.
You're always looking sharp, Jay. Yeah. I love the layers.
I try. Basically, I just wanted to say this. I said this. I was just thinking about it. This is the second time now that the Nets have gone all in on a superstar team and have miserably failed. obviously with the Kevin Garnett, Paul Pierce, that was a travesty for them, and they were set back for years. I think this time around they kind of learned their lesson, and at least I hope they learned their lesson and they build, because nobody wants to play for the Nets. The reality is nobody wants to play for the Nets. They're never gonna get what they had in Kevin Garnett ever again. In Durant ever again. So
let me interrupt you for a second though. So yeah, I mean I think the three of us all are Knicks fans, right? Jacob Essa, you're a Knicks fan, right?
No, actually, I'm a Bulls fan.
Oh, okay then. All right. Yeah. That threw a wrinkle in what I was about to say. But imagine you were a Knicks fan, okay? The Knicks are the team in New York. But with that being said, I mean, the Nets did get Durant and Kyrie to come over. So to say that they can't get a big name, I think they can get the big name. The allure of being in this city is still there. And like for the Knicks, they struggle to get the big name probably because of the owner. Like a lot of people, there are a lot of players out there that say they don't want to play for him.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, that's fair. I just think that this time around, you now have a good core. And unless you're going to get another superstar caliber player, you need to be patient and get the right guy that's going to fit that nucleus of that team, and then become an attractive piece. And say we're a playoff contender. We're maybe one piece away. The whole idea of blowing it all up again. I mean, look at the Lakers. The Lakers are now getting a point guard that they probably should have never have given away. And now, the point guard from Minnesota,
D'Angelo Russell.
He was on the Nets too, and he actually had an all-star year with the Nets. So not saying that you don't go after Kevin Durant, you don't go after James Harden. Yeah, you go after the star players if you can get them. But I do applaud the Knicks, because there was a report that I read that, and I didn't realize that the Knicks did not want Kyrie. They wanted Durant, and they were not going to deal with the Kyrie circus.
Yeah.
So I applaud them, because you know what? At the end of the day, look at what happened, and it probably would have been even worse, as New York is a Knick town. So that's all I had to say.
Before we let you go, hey, Chicago Bull fan, will the Bulls trade any of their guys today?
So as a Bulls fan, I want them to trade. I think they need to blow it up. I don't think they are going to make any moves, which is frustrating. They have Vooch on a free. He's a free agent this year, and he's having a good year. He's having a great year. I think they got to blow that team up. Too many ISO players. It just didn't work out. It is what it is. DeRozan is their best player, and he's probably got 3 years left in his career, 3-4 years at best. So I probably would trade LaVine. I think the jury's out with LaVine. He's not a number one, and he needs to go to a team where he can be a number two. He's not a clutch guy. I'm not going to say he's not a clutch guy. He's just not a go-getter. He's not that dude that he plays kind of stupid, and he doesn't play any defense. All he does is score. And then he makes dumb decisions when it counts. DeMar is different. DeMar can close the game. So it's pretty frustrating watching that team.
Yeah.
All right, maybe Jay Cavazzi, you're the best, brother. Appreciate it, man.
All right. Hi, AJ.
Sweet Lou says in our chats, Nets did a great thing by trading Durant. He's been an issue on every team he has been on, and he can't win without a triple threat trio. We'll see.
I mean, he hasn't, right? I mean, I guess he hasn't, but
yeah. I mean, okay. You need talent. LeBron hasn't won without talent either.
No, it's true. I don't know. Nobody has. Jordan didn't win before he had Pippen.
I mean, you go through it. So listen,
Shaq didn't win without Kobe.
Right. This was decided once Kyrie decided to pull his shenanigans last Friday and request the trade gets traded Sunday. blood was in the water. Let's welcome aboard Reed Wallach now. He joins us. Huge Net fan. I think he's actually walking around New York City right now, probably trying to walk off, shed some tears after the big trade that comes down this morning. Reed, number one, were you up at 1:30 this morning when the deal went down?
Unfortunately, I was. I was about to turn over and go to bed, and I just go, "Oh my God, he's gone." My friend rolls over. She goes, "What do you mean?" I'm like, "Kevin's gone. It's over."
Did you start crying?
There were no tears. There was. I left my bedroom, went on the couch, watched Game 7 of 2021 when his toe was on the line. Tweeted like a bunch of stuff. I went on a tweet storm last night. I didn't go to bed at 30. I mean, that's it. That's how the cookie crumbles. And it gets even worse because now this morning there's like work being done in my apartment. So like I have to be gone from the apartment all day. So now I'm doing this at a park. It's not that cold out at least, but pretty miserable day here in Brooklyn Nets world.
The funny part about this scenario, and I'm sorry to say it's funny, is that you say, "Oh no, he's gone," and your girlfriend probably immediately thought like someone passed away.
No. She knows what.
Okay, all right.
She knows with me.
Because I can just picture like smacking you in the back of the head, like, why would you do that to me?
Not with me, not with me and my Nets. But no, I've gotten countless texts, tweets from people I've never met before, like saying like, "I'm sorry for your loss. Like, I hope it's okay. Like, we'll get through this together." Like it is so miserable, but just like such a series of unfortunate events that brought us to here. And now, the Brooklyn Mids, on the hamster wheel of play-in contending. And now, we'll see what the rest of the day brings and where this front office is going to take them. I don't have much confidence.
Reed Wallach joining us from BetSided, of course. He's a friend of the show, a huge Net fan. We'll get into some other things with Reed as well. Was it worth it, Reed? Like, you go back to summer of 2019. We're sitting here now, February of 2023. Was this journey worth it?
Yeah, I'd do it again because, you could only win an NBA championship with a Kevin Durant-like player with, and all the baggage he brings, whether it's Kyrie Irving, James Harden, whatever it is. Like, you don't get chances like that. So, yeah, you do it. But at the same time, you need to manage your talent. You need to keep people on board. You need to do certain things. Like, we don't need to get into, the Kyrie vaccination status and the Harden wanting out and the Harden trade. I think everyone deserves part of the blame. How you divvy up the pie is up. I think a lot of blame needs to go on management, though, and ownership, because you also see when these guys ask out and when they leave the door, and it's not just Harden, and it's not just Kyrie, and it's not just Durant, it's the role players. There is something, whether it's ownership, whether it's the front office, there's something clearly wrong. And, you want to do player empowerment and you want to, let these guys run the organization. You still need to, manage those talents. This is $1 billion corporation. You can't, Sean Marks, Joe Tsai, you need talent. So, I think that you do it again, but you need the right people in charge to handle these talents. You could let them get their way and hire who they want and bring in their friends. But at the same time, it's on you. You get paid millions of dollars to manage this team, and they failed. And as a Nets fan, I think they deserve a lot of the blame.
Reed, do you think that if we went back 3 days and knew that Durant was going to get traded, do you think that the trade of Kyrie is different? Do you think he ends up in LA for a better haul?
So Sunday, this is let's go back to Sunday. I said the Nets did the right thing. No one wanted to touch Kyrie, so it seems like they did all right. They got this pick that I think is going to end up being very valuable. And then now, though, you didn't consult Durant. You didn't make that move when the idea of also trading Durant 3 days later or however many days it was. So looking back on it, yeah, you probably should have taken the Lakers pick with the Lakers pick package if you were going to tear it down. So it just, again, shows the lack of direction from this front office and how they don't really know what they're doing at the moment. So, yeah, looking back on it, I was team take this Dallas package because I thought the Nets were going to be in on Pascal Siakam, OG Anunoby. It looked like the trade was going to expand into a 3-team deal where the Nets got back an impact player. It seems like when that failed, there weren't that many, other avenues. There weren't a lot of contingency plans there. So then the Nets pivoted, and they didn't even start a bidding war. They just traded him to Durant in the middle of the night. Don't think for a second that they did in the middle of the night. So you can make fun of how few Net fans there are, but they did in the middle of the night, I think. So only I was awake and reacted to it. They did not want the backlash of trading Durant. But seriously, you didn't start a bidding war whatsoever. So you're getting back cents on the dollar, and they're going to lose the trade no matter what. But you got back 4 picks and 2 solid players, and Jay Crowder, who's probably going to get moved. The Nets aren't in as bad of a situation as they were from the Boston trade, but, this is going to be a long road back, and, they're going to have to really rebuild a lot of goodwill around the league, in my opinion.
We're chatting with Reed Wallach from Betsider. Reed, why do you think it failed? Where do you blame goes all? I mean, blame goes all the way around. It's a loaded question, but I saw or I heard. I think it was maybe Brian Windhorst this morning on ESPN mentioning the fact of, look at Golden State, the ability of them to develop, relationships and have the trust of their players, right, from the front office on down into the court. Do you blame Sean Marks? Once you get into the star business, you have to acquiesce to some of their wills because it's a star-driven league. We know about player empowerment, but people are going to look back at this, Reed, as one of the great failures in professional sports. Why do you think it failed as miserably as it did?
I mean, a lot of unfortunate circumstances, like obviously the pandemic, Kyrie not getting vaccinated. But again, I think you got Moose, I think you nailed it on the head. You got to manage these talents. That's what I was saying before. You're running an organization, and it seemed like the Nets really empowered Durant and Kyrie to do whatever they wanted. And then when they realized that they kind of opened Pandora's box and it got a little out of control, they wanted to reel it in. And once you start, you can't pull back the rope enough. It kind of just, you run out of slack. So it seems like it just deteriorated. And, I think the on-court product was fantastic. And, they had a few good years, but a lot of, injury concerns. And then also just the bipolar, I don't want to say bipolar, but kind of the volatile natures of these superstars. And that just couldn't handle it. They couldn't manage this.
Do you think? Well, how big of an issue do you think Marks is? Because I've heard the relationships between Marks and his players not particularly great.
Every role player that has left this team, and it's not just lip service, press conference, new team, thrilled to be here, happy. It is. I was happy to get out of Brooklyn. That's bad. That's a concern. And every role player has said it on their way out. Paul Millsap said it last year. There's something rotten there, and I think it's ownership and management, and that's where it starts, and that's ultimately what's prospective free agents are going to see this, and it's going to be tough to rebuild that. The Nets were in a deep hole, and Marks pulled them out. He hit on a few draft picks, he made a few savvy moves, but when it comes to the superstar business, and that's how you get measured success in this league, is superstars and success and championship, and you need those superstars. Clearly, these guys can't manage them. So, I think a lot of it falls on management.
Reed, while we have you here, if you want to break news, listen, Kyrie and Durant are gone. If you're available, Knicks fans were willing to accept you.
I'll go with never. I will go down. Listen. It hurts now. I am a Nets fan. First and foremost, always. I'm still considering going to the game tonight. I had plans to go. Still a Nets fan. It's going to suck. I think that the team, they could be in worse places. I mean, they're going to be on this hamster wheel of the middle with Washington and, all these other teams. But, Cam Thomas, 40 points in 3 straight games. That doesn't happen to just anybody. So, that's a nice young piece. Nick Claxton looking like a first-team all-defense. I would keep McCall Bridges. His contract extension just kicked in. They could be in worse places. But ultimately, it's the middle, and you can only win with superstars, and I just don't know how soon that superstar is walking through the door.
Yeah, that's the big issue now is what exactly is next, right? And they've done. Cam Thomas is a wonderful young player. It's not exactly like Mikal Bridges is useful. Cam Johnson is useful. Yeah. You've got useful pieces on this team, but you went from a team, and Reed, you sent out something, Keith and I have talked about. You sent out a tweet. Think about where this team was 6 days ago.
Oh, yeah.
But also think about where this team was in the month of December and where, legit NBA champs
Yeah.
And now they're legit NBA championship contenders, and now they're just completely out of the equation.
Yeah, it's crazy, and that's the nature of the league. But also, it just shows the house of cards that this whole team was under, and it looked like they were figuring it out. And it's crazy. Durant sprains his MCL the same time last year, as you can see someone walking behind me. But Durant sprains the MCL last year, all unravels. Kyrie, part-time player, Harden asked out. Durant this year sprains best run in franchise history. It all unravels. So, I think, again, the blame should be passed around to a lot of different people. I'll take part of the blame as a fan and someone who, really holds this team close to his heart. I'll take some of the blame for them. But I think just it was a rocky marriage from the start, and there were a lot of warning signs, and ultimately the team just couldn't figure it out. And, I don't know. I don't know what happens to Sean Marks, but I really, maybe you need a fresh voice in there to really, undertake this. I don't even think it's a rebuild. It's a retooling. It's probably a
good word. I like that. Retooling. That's a good word.
Because they're not left with nothing. Like I just said, Cam Thomas, Nick Claxton, McCall Bridges, like you're in decent-ish shape, but, again, you quickly find yourself in the middle, and, that's kind of the worst place to be in the NBA.
Championship contenders. I'll ask you this, Reed, out west. Where do you put the Suns? You put the Suns at the top of your list now? Do you have Denver at the top of your list? Jokic looks like he's about to win another MVP with the way he's ripping off triple doubles left and right. Where are now the Phoenix Suns in the complexion of the West?
I will put Phoenix at the top cautiously because they do not have a lot of depth. So you're talking, I believe it's 37-year-old Chris Paul. So one injury to one of their guys. They are very, very shallow. I imagine Phoenix is going to look to make another move to get a quality role player. But to me, Phoenix is at the top because you have two of the 15 best players in the NBA. So, I don't think any other team really has that at the moment. So Phoenix at the top in the West, which is why also not a great matchup for Denver. Just talking on Kyrie, I don't think the Dallas situation is going to work whatsoever. No depth again, no defense whatsoever. I really don't trust Dallas, and I think Kyrie's going to be gone. So, the Nets walk away with that first-round pick where Luka Doncic won't be under contract, at least at this moment. So, I think that is going to be the crown jewel of the Nets' future is if Luka does leave Dallas and this Kyrie thing falls because Dallas are running short on assets. So, I think, to me, if I were to rank Phoenix as the number one team right now, but it's not a lock. It's going to take 30 games. They absolutely can. They have plenty of talent, but one injury, you really start to test the depth there. Denver has been crushing teams for the last month and a half, so I think they are more than formidable, and they're going to be looking to add at the deadline today. And Dallas, to me, I don't think they're a real contender.
Reed, what kind of construction's going on at your apartment, by the way? What are they doing?
Plumbing.
Keith's a great plumber, by the way.
I'm a good plumber.
Anything you need to have happen, you got a leaky faucet, you got something, just call Irizarry. He's not going to charge you a ton. He might even do it on the cuff. So
I just want a steak.
Yeah.
Steak dinner.
Now I know who to call. I think something with the circuit breaker or something. They call me and they're like, yeah, like Thursday, like it's going to be like an all day thing. I go like, oh, it's deadline day. You can't be doing that on Thursday. Like, well, you got no choice. I was like, oh God, like okay, so I'm gonna find some place to go and sulk and try and process all this information of my basketball team.
Well, I don't do electricity, so actually, Moose, you can offer me services that I don't touch. Nope.
No,
nope.
Don't electrocute yourself. Well, Reed, I'll tell you this: the sun will come up tomorrow.
Yes,
it will come.
We'll be
up.
okay. We'll be okay.
Okay, it'll be okay. It'll be okay. Enjoy walking around the city today and thinking about what could have been. We appreciate it. Continue. I'm sorry, Reed.
I appreciate it. We'll be okay. We'll be.
You got it, Reed.
See you later, Reed.
Appreciate it.
The sun will come out and it'll be okay.
Yeah, that's it. It'll be okay. Don't worry. It'll be all right.
By the way, you're offering no electricity, not something I do. Nope. Don't mess with electric.
Yeah.
I'm a water guy, not electric guy.
Yeah. I've changed outlets.
No, I'm good.
Yeah,
I guess I have. I don't want to.
I've changed outlets. I've changed, but dealing with it.
That's how I lost my hair.
Yeah, that's exactly dealing with a circuit breaker. No, I'll pass on that. I'm not dealing with it. That's too much. You know, that's that. We'll come back. I think Mitch Lawrence is going to join us. We're going to do a little NBA. He's joining us at the top of the 11 o'clock hour, I believe, right? And we've got to get into Super Bowl 57 at some point in time. It's a big NBA day.
We haven't even talked about the Lakers, really.
No, we have not. And
there's a certain guy that's out of there.
Well, let's be honest. Once the Nets trade Kevin Durant at 1:30 this morning, that's all anybody wants to talk about.
That's all it is.
Because if you're the Lakers right now, you're like, we're not close. They're not close to Phoenix. They're not. With Ayton, with Durant, Booker, and an aging Chris Paul, they're not close. We'll come back. It's Moose and Keith with you right here on this action-packed Thursday, Better Sports Network.
Better Sports Network is sponsored by Lucra.
Now being joined by Dylan Robbins, the CEO of Lucra.
Lucra is a unique new platform, but it really has a basis and a very simple idea is that we think that people want to bet with their friends, right? Our product is built off the fact that the casual fan is at the bar or at their buddy's house and they're putting $5 on the game and they're doing it on Venmo. And I think that there's a huge opportunity to open the market up to all these casual fans. A lot of people who feel boxed out by the traditional sports books because they're too complicated or there's complex jargon. They don't understand the lines or the spreads. And so Lucra's goal is to just make it simple. And our favorite way of doing that is we just connect you directly with your friends. So it's a social platform. It's peer-to-peer. We're not the house. We don't take any risk on these wagers. We just are a marketplace to kind of connect you with your friends directly to engage. So it started as just a business for sports. We've expanded outside of sports now. We offer 150 recreational games from cornhole to beer pong to darts to Wordle to Peloton, you name it. You can challenge your friends now on Lucra. And you've got all the gaming and tracking and stats and leaderboards to go with it to make it fun. So it's a bit about what we do, and excited to chat with you guys about it today.
What's the future growth of Lucra?
Good question. I think for us, it's really the expansion outside of sports. I think that we've proven that sports is a great model. We've got a ton of great customers who love our sports product, but we're really paving the way or really innovating on this recreational game side of our business as we think about all these unique categories and areas where people are competing. Spike ball, pickleball, all these things that are blowing up across the globe right now. Lucra is the first real way where people can bet with their friends on these games. And so we're getting a lot of new customers from that, a lot of brand awareness from that. I think we're just trying to iterate that product, make it more fun, make it easier. But we're going to keep our ethos the same, casual, social, and fun. That's what Lucra's about. Our average contest is $10. This is not about bankrupting your friends. It's not about winning big and paying your rent. It's about the magic of the moment and making that moment better by having $5 on the line. If you ever played a round of golf on Sunday or watched a football game, you guys get it. You put a few bucks on it. It just changes the way you interact with that game. You watch it longer. You spend more money there. And it gives us a lot of time for us to, a lot of opportunity for us to partner with other brands because of that.
Better Sports Network is sponsored by Lucra. Winning is fun, and beating your friends is even better. Download the Lucra app today to challenge your friends and win money.
It's Moose and Keith with Mark Malusis and Keith Irizarry.
Work and Grind telling us in our chat, water and electricity are the same. They run in straight lines. Thank you.
Yes, except that when water hits me, I get wet. When electricity hits me, I go zzz, I do that.
Well, or you'll be dead.
I wouldn't die.
I think it
I'd
depends on
like
how powerful the line is.
Nah, I'd be like the Flash. It would actually turn me into a superhero. Season 9 of The Flash came back last night. Do you and the boys watch The Flash?
I had no idea there was a season 8.
Why are you being so hurtful right now? How do you not know that The Flash was out?
Dude, we've talked about it. I don't watch a lot of shows. I had no idea. I'm sure it's an amazing show that it's
Harry and Iris. I mean, come on.
I understand that. Yeah.
The Flash is amazing. It's on Netflix too. If you need to go back and watch all of it.
I'm sure it's wonderful, Keith.
Yeah.
I don't sit down and I'm not sitting down and taking in a lot of shows.
Young Rock has been fantastic. Really good season this year. Thoroughly enjoying it. And we finished The Recruit. What an ending to that one.
I want to start watching Jack Ryan.
Jack Ryan. Actually, you know what? I haven't done Jack Ryan. Jack Reacher is really good.
Yeah, I like Jack. I like Tom Cruise and Jack Reacher was very good. The first one, very fun.
No, but the TV show is good because it's the big, huge hulking dude that just walks around and nothing can happen to him, apparently.
Right. But like the funny thing about Jack, what are we talking about? Reacher.
Yeah.
Is that like you mentioned it, like he's this big hulking dude, and like Tom Cruise in the movie is like 5'6".
Yeah. How tall do you think Tom Cruise really is?
Like 5'7".
Yeah, right. He's little.
Yeah, well, I mean, he's a smaller guy. But
I just love that he still does all of his own stunts too.
Dude, he's crazy. I know.
Yeah, he's psycho. He's psycho in every good way of the word.
What is Tom Cruise? How old do you think Tom Cruise is? Let's play a little game.
I'm not looking. You can see that I'm not looking.
Let me, before you give an answer, let me look it up. How old do you think Tom Cruise is?
So we got to think about when he was big, blah, blah, blah. You go through that, through the 30s, through the 40s. I don't think he's 60 yet. I'm going to guess 59.
He's 60.
Okay, I was right there.
He's going to be 61 this year.
All right, 60 years old.
But he's unbelievable.
And that's where we can go back to 2 days ago when we were talking about retiring. I mean, yes. I'm basically going to be the Tom Cruise of this field. So
very nice.
Just without the weird religious.
Just as handsome. Just don't have hair.
I mean, I could buy hair.
It wouldn't look right.
I mean,
you look better bald.
Thank you, but there are people out there that, I mean, like, what did I say? I can go to Portugal, right? And again, I'll be good.
Yeah, I don't think it would work. But we also said I would not go out of this country for any kind of medical services.
Man, could you imagine if I suddenly had hair? Like, imagine if I had hair like you.
They get like butt implants in like Brazil.
Yeah, I'm not doing any butt implants.
And then they end up like in the hospital and end up having like.
Yeah,
like being on like death's doorstep.
Yeah, calf implants. God. No, what's the dumbest implant? I think butt implants pretty stupid.
Well, no, like, I mean it depends on what line
shake what your mama gave you. Rock with what you got.
It depends on what line of work you're in. If you're like a singer, if you're like a model, maybe like that'll help you get work. You get butt implants. I think calf implants for guys is just dopey.
Pretty stupid.
Like that's
a pretty dumb one.
Like, and I know Sharapan talks about how powerful his calves are.
Oh my God, his calves are glorious.
My wife has said you have beautiful calves.
Yeah.
To me, which, that was probably the best compliment I've ever gotten from my wife.
There you go.
I'm trying to think.
I mean, she had to at some point tell you had nice eyes.
No, it was the French woman in Montreal.
You remember her?
Unfortunately, I was with like 4 other guys, so I couldn't really do anything with it.
Listen, is Donna around you right now?
No, she's not around.
I need you to ask Donna for me.
When I'm home, she's out.
I need you to pull one of these. Take your glasses off and just give Donna like one of those like sexy looks.
Yeah.
And see if what she says. Like will she say like, wow, your eyes look great, or will she say like, what's wrong with you? What are you looking at me like that for?
She'll be complimentary, but
that'd be great if she was like, what is wrong with you? Why are you looking at me like that?
Yeah, what do we have work to do? There's stuff to do. We got stuff to do. We gotta sign up for the kids for hockey.
Yeah, we have a big weekend coming up. We have 3 hockey games this weekend. We got lacrosse training. Come on, Mark.
It's like that's exactly right. You basically do you have a camera into our
right house? That's exactly what listen,
I think we had that conversation about an hour and a half ago.
we were just talking about that too. I got my brother-in-law Craig, happy birthday to him. It's his birthday today.
Happy birthday. What are you guys doing?
Just a little, like, we're gonna have some dinner and some cake tonight at my sister's house.
What is she getting? What is she making?
I don't know. I texted her this morning to find out what the deal is, like see if there was anything that we needed, like she wanted us to bring.
Bring something. You can't go there empty-handed.
So one, I disagree.
Nice key lime pie. No. You have to go.
Let me. I'll pose this to the world too. I don't think when it's your sibling, you have to bring a dish. I don't.
Oh, that's wrong. No.
I offered. I did. I'll read you the text.
I believe you. I believe you offered. But even if they say nothing,
I said, "Do you need anything for tonight?" I don't think so. Not sure about food yet.
All right, so you're not. Well, if the food is the one, But
no, she'll order whatever she's gonna do.
Well,
yeah,
Does he drink?
Yes, he does. Yes.
Okay, bring a nice bottle of wine.
Yeah, I mean, I'll probably bring a dessert. Would be probably what I would do.
Bring a dessert.
Yeah, I'd probably bring something like that. I also have to run out this afternoon and get like birthday cards and stuff like that too. So then my niece, her 18th birthday is Saturday.
Yeah.
So we're gonna double dip tonight because she's got plans with her own friends on Saturday, right?
Yeah.
But like with the craziness, so I gotta figure out that stuff today. So Jody and I were talking about that. Tomorrow night, Jody's actually going out with friends, and Austin's got a basketball game. Alex has soccer. Saturday, we have soccer in the morning, and Austin has 3 basketball games. And then Sunday morning, he's got another basketball game. Then he turns around, Moose. He's like, "Hey, so I know you have your friends over for Super Bowl. Is there any chance I could have some of my friends over?" And he's 12, and we're like, "Yeah, of course you can." But I was just like, dude, I don't know if they're going to stay for the game. Like most kids your age usually watch with their mom, their dad, like whomever it is that they watch mostly with. And he's like, "It's okay." So now I've got 6 of his friends coming over at, I think, 12:30 or 1 o'clock. They're going to stay till about 4. And then all my buddies are coming over between 3 and 4 o'clock. So there'll be a little overlap. There's going to be a nice basketball game going on. I know that for a fact. Maybe some football going on.
Caveat to it. Imagine if like the Chiefs are winning that game like 21-0.
I'm not going to be happy. Because everyone in my house is rooting against the Eagles. I have a lot of Giants fans coming to my house.
Jalen Hurts, right? You got basically a ton of Kayvon Thibodeaux and Julian Loves walking around the house, just rooting against the Eagles.
It needs to be a close game. It is going to be really frustrating. Me sitting there in my Donovan McNabb jersey, and everyone is going to be rooting against the Eagles in my house.
Now, I'll give you a dessert you can make.
Okay.
You ever make chocolate chip brownie combo?
No. How do you do that?
So you go to the store, you buy the ready-made Toll House chocolate chip cookies, right?
Okay.
You know how they come in either 12 or 24, right?
Yep.
You take out like a 9x12 brownie tray.
Okay.
You put them into the bottom. You mash it to where you make like a crust on the bottom.
The cookies are the crust, essentially.
The crust on the bottom.
Okay.
Then you take brownie mix. You make the brownie mix. You pour it off on the top, and then you bake it. You pull it out.
Sounds pretty amazing.
And then you cut them into brownie squares. But you have the chocolate chip cookie on the bottom and then the brownie on the top.
That sounds pretty amazing.
It's delicious. I haven't made it in years. We used to make it all the time before kids when we used to have parties.
I would probably have to make more than one tray of that for Super Bowl, though, no?
Yeah. But I'm just saying it is we saw it one time. I think it was either on Instagram or TikTok. And Donna was like, "Can we make this for one of our barbecues?" And I was like, "Yeah, it's easy enough to make. Everything's pretty much pre-made. Like we're not making our own brownie mix. You buy like Dunkin' Hines or whatever it is. And then you bake it off, and then you let it cool, and then you cut it into little squares, and you put it on a serving dish. It's a tremendous dessert.
Because I need to, so Super Bowl is one of the, I'll call it a holiday. I can't be bothered with cooking a lot of stuff or baking anything. I just want to order things. I want to have chips. It's like total junk food because, again, I want to be able to hang out with my buddies and be outside throwing the football around.
And Super Bowl Sunday. This is it. We got one game left.
Yeah,
it's also NBA trade deadline day. Let's welcome aboard right now. He's waiting patiently.
He is.
I think he's in his den. It's Mitch Lawrence. Used to be with the Daily News, longtime NBA scribe, now Sirius XM NBA radio. He's on Mad Dog Radio as well. I remember when I was a producer and working for Russo, I'd always call Mitch and be like, "Mitch, you have a couple minutes?" He'd always give Russo a couple minutes. Good guy, salt of the earth, as good as it gets. Mitch, good morning, brother. Thanks for the time.
I'm also an Essex County guy, so you're talking about Tom Cruise.
Yes.
He was a 160-pound pulling guard for Glenridge High School back in the day for Richie Sanfilippo.
Wow.
Was he really?
And he dipped ice cream cones at Applegate's in Upper Montclair, around the corner from where Frank Isola holds court. There's a little Tom Cruise Essex County history for you.
How impressed are you that Tom Cruise at 60 years old still does his own stunts?
He's amazing. He's an amazing guy. He's a Glenridge guy. I know he bounced around, but he's like LeBron. He bounces around, but to me, he's always a Glenridge guy.
Yeah, that's.
You taking Tom Cruise or LeBron James on your team in your foxhole?
Tom Cruise is the GOAT. LeBron's not the GOAT.
Mitch,
how about that? I love
ask you,
it.
Mitch,
do you get best beginning to an interview ever?
Yeah.
The greatest thing is that this whole thing about passing Kareem turned into a GOAT debate.
Yeah.
Right?
Do you get tired of that conversation?
Wow. What's that?
How tired, Mitch, do you get of the conversation of LeBron, Michael, Kareem, who's the greatest of all time?
I don't. I think it's great. I think what's happening though is, and it's pretty weird because I'm a Jordan guy. Younger people who just go on YouTube and watch Michael Jordan's highlights don't get the real impact of the type of player he was when you watched him in games on TVs and you knew down the stretch of the game he was going to win the game. They have he made clutch. He was more clutch than LeBron, but you have no idea until you were there watching him. There's something that's been lost over time, and that's too bad. And the thing that nobody talks about, and this to me is one of the big dividing points between the two. Frank and I talked about it earlier in the starting lineup. LeBron James had playoff games when he was with the Cavaliers in his first tour of duty, and he was with Miami in his first finals against Dallas, where he checked out on his team and he stopped competing. He went in a corner, stood there in Dallas, imploding in the fourth quarter of 3 games when they're up 2-1. Unacceptable for a GOAT candidate. Michael Jordan never had those mental breakdowns.
Yeah, even
nobody's talking about that. And
yeah, Kobe had those.
Guys like Larry Bird, Magic Johnson, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, Bill Russell don't have those moments where they check out on their teams, where they're mentally soft. Can't happen.
With that being said, though, do you think the gap has closed between Jordan and LeBron? We both agree Jordan's still the guy, and I'm a LeBron apologist, by the way. I readily admit that, but do you think that the gap is closed?
Yes, and the simple reason being that this guy, LeBron James, is still in his prime. I watched Kareem Abdul-Jabbar play his last few years. There were some nights where it was pathetic, right? Trying to get down the court, and he doesn't have the ball in his hands. He's just setting up in the low post. He's giving you 13 points. LeBron James is giving you 30 points. He's the best player on their team. He's one of the best players in the sport. Can he close games like he used to? No. Can he attack the basket like he did against Oklahoma City? That's when he knew he was getting a record. The way he played, I mean, he's unstoppable. No, either hand. So that's, to me, I mean, he is now, with the point total, I'd argue Jordan's the best player I saw. LeBron's had the best overall career. Scoring, rebounding. He's now top 4 in assists over 10,000. Doing it year in and year out. And I'll tell you another thing that's a load. People say he wasn't a scorer when he came in. His debut at 19, he scored 25 points. At a time where it was harder to score, they allowed more physical play. His 16th game, I looked it up the other day. His 16th game as a pro, 30 points. His 69th game, rookie year, first year, 40 points. That's not a scorer? What do you like to do is orchestrate first. That's his MO. But if you needed a basket, yeah, but not a feathery jumper, attacking the basket, going downhill, the king of the bully ball, because the guy's 6'9", 260.
You're right.
I mean, it's to me, taking care of his body, getting better as a shooter. He came in, he was a 41% shooter, whatever. Improving, he's a 50% shooter, getting a semblance of a shot. But here's the deal. When Michael Jordan took over late in the game, when the big shot's coming, you're thinking Michael Jordan's going to make it. LeBron shooting, you don't know. As he says, it's a make or miss league. Michael Jordan never said that. That was a make league.
Right. Fair. We're chatting with Mitch Lawrence, Sirius XM NBA Radio, Mad Dog Radio. Long time has been covering the association. All right, Mitch, NBA trade deadline is today, 4 hours away. Big news that comes out at 1:30 a.m. this morning. Let's start with the Nets. And you'd be great with this. How big in the context of New York or the context of just professional sports, where do you put the Brooklyn Net, Kyrie, KD tandem as a failure in the history of sports?
They played 74 games together, right? 74 in 3+ years. And I know Durant was out the first year. Yeah, it was a disaster. And you know what? I was all for it when they made that move. I didn't like bringing on Kyrie because I knew there was going to be trouble. And I even said, you know what? okay, Durant's got an Achilles, but I got to roll the dice with him. Why? You're the Nets. Who are you going to get? You ever going to get a guy like Kevin Durant? If he comes back and he's 85% in what he was, are you ever going to have a player that good? And as it turns out, when Durant played over the last couple of years and when he was on the court, giving you everything he had, that's the best player they've had in their history. I don't care about Dr. J. I don't care about Jason Kidd. He's the best player. So the problem is you had to take on the baggage of Kyrie Irving, which Mark Cuban's going to find out, and Luka Doncic is going to find out, and Mark Cuban's going to find all these guys in Dallas. Jason Kidd, he ain't worth the trouble. Going back to football, Montclair High School had a guy. We were right next to Glen Ridge. That's how I know about Tom Cruise, and I knew the offensive coordinator. We had a guy who played. He was a running back when Vince Lombardi was on the 7 blocks of granite. This guy played in the backfield, and he was later a coach in Montclair High School. And if you screwed up, he'd look at you and he'd go, you know what? You're not worth 15 goddamn yards. Kyrie Irving ain't worth 15 goddamn yards. A little more Essex County for you.
I love the Essex County. There you go.
So ultimately,
it's going to happen. You know what's going to happen. People are. He's on his best behavior. It's Dallas. He wants to be. Hey, he can go off the rails at any point. And who knows? I mean, it might be a rental for Dallas. You never know.
It very well might be. All right.
You know, the difference is, it's funny. Kevin Durant got exactly what he wanted. He identified Phoenix last summer, right? And great, good for him. As many trade requests, and he got hurt, and that's going forward, that's a problem for Kevin Durant. Maybe the Nets just were like, you know what, we got to cut our losses with this guy's going to get hurt again. But at least he was good enough soldier there, where Joe Tsai said, all right, I'll send you to Phoenix. Kyrie Irving, you ain't going to Lakers.
Yeah, that was amazing.
I'm going to park you in Dallas. If I could send you to Tel Aviv, if they had a team, I'd send you there.
Now Phoenix Suns, their odds jump down, shortened from 18-1 to 5-1. How do you view them in the West?
Wow. I mean, didn't have to give up Ayton, didn't have to give up Booker. You know, I thought their window was closed before this trade. I don't care if they won 9 out of 11. When they were up 2-0 against the Bucks, and I picked them to win that series, I was bullish on Chris Paul back then. You're a couple of years removed. Chris Paul's always hurt. Obviously they gave up Bridges, who's a really good player. He used to guard the opponent's best player. I mean, I want to sit here and tell you you're going to win the West. I don't know. Durant, the problem with Durant now is he gets hurt. And he doesn't go down for a week. He goes down for a month, 6 weeks. But if they have everybody together, it looks like they're the cream of the crop. Then Denver. Golden State was the team I picked going into this year. It looks like they're not going to have any kind of a year to remember. And then, I'm never a believer in the Clippers. I'm not a believer in Dallas. So it's kind of wide open. But I think Phoenix did themselves. The new owner, you got to love Matt Ishbia, right?
Yeah.
The rumor was he was going to hire Isaiah Thomas, which you couldn't believe. Because didn't they just clear out Robert Sarver with all the problems there with about sexual harassment? And they got rid of that owner. Now Ishbia comes in. He wants to hire Isaiah Thomas. I was writing every day for the Daily News back then. You couldn't have a worse hire. Sorry, Zeke. And all the problems with the sexual harassment stuff.
Yep.
So Ishbia looked like he had made a rookie mistake there. Denied it. All right, he's not going to have maybe he'll be part of a shadow government like he was for Jim Dolan. But in New York, after he got thrown out. But he rebounded nicely because this is a move. Right now, the talk of Glendale, Arizona, guys, is not the Super Bowl.
No, it's all NBA.
It's amazing. The NBA, and we've seen it in the past, guys, you know this. The NBA sometimes hijacks the week going up to the Super Bowl. They did it here.
Yeah, they did.
This trade deadline, I've been covering the league since 87, 88 when I covered the Dallas Mavericks. And back then, I thought Mark Aguirre was a big distraction. My apologies to the Doughboy because now they got Kyrie Irving. But I haven't seen a trade deadline like this in all those years. I can't remember one.
No,
I wrote down all the names of people. It's unbelievable.
When you look at, let's look at the Lakers, because before the Durant deal went down this morning, The Lakers made a big move last night.
Yes.
They traded one of their first-round draft picks in 2027. Westbrook gone. They added 3 players, including D'Angelo Russell from the Minnesota Timberwolves, Malik Beasley, Vanderbilt. What did you make of the Lakers improving themselves here to try and make a run for LeBron?
Put this Phoenix thing aside. They made that trade. I was like, wow, that's a move. Defense, athletes, a couple of shooters, scores. If you look at the Lakers before this move, they got LeBron, they got top 76 of all time, Anthony Davis, who's playing his way off that team. I know when he's healthy, he's fine, but it's like, come on. The other night against Oklahoma City was an embarrassment. And then after that, you got Russ, who you knew they didn't want. And after that, what do you got? You got nothing. Here, they have 3 more players who are going to help them. It'd be ideal if D'Angelo Russell could be a 6th man. He'll start probably, you would think. But, I mean, yeah, they helped themselves a lot. Vanderbilt, rebounding, defense. Beasley as a shooter. Russell, a couple of weeks ago, I think he made 7 threes and a half. He's that type of player. So, until the Phoenix move, it looked like the Lakers were in play in terms of you knew at least they were going to get in the play-in thing. Now, how far can they go? Who knows? And the big problem for them is Anthony Davis staying upright. You just can't trust him. You just can't trust the guy. It's really something. So if you're a Laker fan today, you got to be happy, but you're also like, well, what's the point? Because Phoenix just got Kevin Durant.
Mitch, do you think we'll see more fireworks today in the trade deadline?
What more could there be?
I would say Chicago, Toronto are the 2 teams that everyone's wondering, are they dealing people?
I've heard Chicago's thing is, and I think Jerry Reinsdorf operates this way. They lead the league in attendance. What do we need to do?
I guess.
We don't need to make when attendance historically, when attendance falls off in Chicago, that's when they know they got to make moves. It sounds like a businessman, right? And Jerry Reinsdorf's a great businessman. Now, Toronto, yeah. I know the Clippers want Fred VanVleet. I don't know if they can get him. I'll tell you what, the team that really lost here, and I know this, the Clippers were like, ouch, when they saw these moves. Not only the Lakers, but Phoenix. The Clippers now are desperate for a point guard. Reggie Jackson, erratic. John Wall, no. They want Fred VanVleet. They want, if Kyle Lowry were healthy with a good knee, they'd be banging the door down to get Kyle. So, look for the Clippers maybe do something. And I think Toronto's still open for business. I don't know about the Bulls, but I think Toronto, OG Anunoby, Fred VanVleet, Siakam, and obviously the other one coming off the Nets is Jay Crowder. Looks like they're going to send him to Milwaukee if they can. The Bucks have been linked to him for a long time. And I think the Nets have some flexibility in terms of they got a lot of assets. I just don't know if they can package them to get somebody. Good. Look, what do they need now? They're down star power.
Yeah, well, right. Who's going to show up and watch the Brooklyn Nets play out at the Barclays? Right. They've got a home game tonight. Right. Mitch, what about the Knicks here? They make the move for Josh Hart last night from Portland.
Yes.
Cam Reddish wasn't going to get any burn here. A lot of rumors about Obi Toppin being on the move. What do you think Leon Rose and the Knicks do before 3 o'clock this afternoon?
When's Leon's press conference off to Josh Hart then?
Never.
He's got a big presser coming on?
He's never doing no pressers for Leon.
He'll wait till Josh Hart gets to town. He'll hold up the jersey. He'll big a lot of, grip and grin pick. Yeah, no, I think they did real well. I guess from what I heard from Frank this morning, I didn't know this. I saw it. He said, Tom Thibodeau, rather, has been trying to get Josh Hart for the longest time. He's reunited with Brunson, the Villanova guys. I guess Brunson had his number retired down on the main line last night. That's great for him. He's been terrific, by the way. And by the way, the Dallas Mavericks caused themselves so much grief by not re-signing that guy, Brunson, because they wouldn't have to mess around
with Kyrie,
with this other guy.
Right.
Yeah. You know what? If they have Brunson here, they don't have to worry about is Kyrie Irving going to behave. How much of a Mark Cuban, Mr. Shark Tank.
But Mitch, everyone's going to gamble on talent, Mitch. Everyone's going to gamble on talent.
But here's the deal. You had Brunson on your team for game after game and practice. You saw what type of person he is.
For sure.
Even if you have to overpay, it's worth it. Why? He went to the Western Conference Finals last year. All right, it might have been a little flukish. Maybe it's an outlier. But you know what you have in him. You may be able to make another deep playoff run or two. You let him go. You let him walk. You don't get anything for him. And now you're bringing in Kyrie Irving. He's flying across the country and you think, it's funny. Everybody's talking about, Nico Harrison, the Nike guy, he's got the relations with the guy and he'll be able to relate to Kyrie. Hello, he was just with Kevin Durant. I thought they had a relationship. How'd that work out?
Not well.
Kevin Durant could never get the guy to play.
I know.
Or he could never get the guy vaccinated. Or he can never get the guy to not ghost his team. We'll see how it works in Dallas, but it all goes back to Brunson. That's the big mistake.
Mitch, you're great. Yeah, Keith.
I got one more. I want to double back to one more thing. You mentioned the Clippers. Russell Westbrook could potentially end up getting bought out. Is that a spot for him?
That's what he's going to go right down the hallway at the Crypto Center. And I'll tell you what, it'll be so much fun. Lakers, Clippers, when Russ goes at LeBron, when Russ goes at Pat Bev. I mean, this is the stuff you live for.
Yeah.
As you're an NBA scribe, fan, whatever. Yes, that's a great call. If they strike out with Van Vliet and they strike out with these other guys, he don't have to worry about going to Salt Lake City. He will be staying in Los Angeles probably.
Mitch Lawrence, Sirius XM NBA Radio, Mad Dog Radio. Mitch, we appreciate the time this morning. Enjoy trade deadline day. All right, bud?
You too. Thanks, guys. I enjoyed it.
Thanks care. A lot, Mitch.
You well.
You guys too. Thank you. Enjoy it.
He's just so
Bringing up
the best line of the day was Anthony Davis is playing himself off of the top 75.
Top 70. No, he said 76.
76 team. Top 76 team. It's just so funny.
Yep. I know you've known Mitch a long time. Me too. I used to have him on my NBC shows, and I like genuinely enjoyed talking with him. Like, Mitch is one of the guys where you could just say, you just go, Russell, and he'll just start talking, and you don't even have to ask him a question. He'll just start talking, and you're like, yep, that's what I wanted from you. Yeah.
Yeah, it was weird. Like, we were, like, if you're a certain age when newspapers were a thing, like the Daily News.
He was the guy.
Yeah, like there was a point in time where you had the Daily News, you had Mitch Lawrence, and you had Frank Isola covering, Mitch Lawrence covering the NBA, Frank Isola covering the Knicks. You had Gary Myers covering the National Football League, Bill Madden covering the Major League Baseball. Mike Lupica.
We had all the best writers in New York. I'm sorry, like Lupica too. Yeah, exactly. I mean,
like it was. Listen, I think he's great. He's unbelievable. He's got an unbelievable wealth of knowledge and history and a feel for the association. So it's great chatting with him, and he gives you a good perspective. And the other thing is, he's opinionated. And he's going to let you know how he feels as well. Jake Cabas is asking, Moose, do you think Russ is washed or was it a bad fit? I'm not sure about that.
I don't even think it was that bad of a fit necessarily. He was putting up good numbers off the bench, but I think I know where Moose is about to go.
You can't shoot.
Exactly. If you can't shoot, it's really difficult to be a star in this league because at some point, like even LeBron James, as athletic as he is, right? He doesn't bounce the same way he did 10 years ago. He still bounces better than most of the world. But if he didn't have a jump shot, he wouldn't be averaging 30. And and if he wasn't 6'8", 260, he wouldn't be averaging 30. Russ is 6'3", 210 pounds, who used to dunk on everybody. He can't do that anymore, and he can't shoot. He's still an excellent basketball player, though.
Yeah, right. Well, Jacob Ossie, you're not wrong. That was never his game. Right. But the problem is you have to evolve as a player when you get older because the athleticism starts to diminish. You can no longer do stuff in your mid-30s that you could do in your mid-20s. So then it's a case of, all right, as you hear like the word savvy, how many times you hear, especially in the NBA, oh, he's a savvy vet because he understands, the individual understands what they need to do then in order to be successful because they can't just use their God-given ability to be able to generate space, or that's where you need to find different ways to score, working on your outside jumper. You look at guys, I mean, just LeBron, Duncan, Michael, the guys as Jason Kidd is another point. Jason Kidd couldn't shoot. At the end of his career, Jason Kidd could shoot. I mean, he worked out, he could knock down threes, right? But so like there are guys in the league where you have an understanding where if I want to continue to be relevant, continue to be great, that there are things that I need to do and I need to work on, which is I've got to consistently get my outside jumper going because that's how I'm going to remain in the league because shooting is a big time key.
And I'll tell you this, it is something that I've always found interesting about NBA players.
Yeah.
Is that if you are the best of the best, and that's what they are, right? They're the best of the best at their craft. They are the top athletes in the world at that sport. I don't understand how you could not fix your jump shot. I never got it.
Well,
I don't
understand. I personally don't understand it either. Now you might say, well, guys, you're not them. That's true. I'm not 6'5", and I can't dunk a basketball, and I don't have that kind of athletic ability. That is fair.
I actually understand the free throw shooting for the big men, though. Every big man, that's the thing, right? They all talk about how like the ball is almost too small for their hand, and it's hard to get that shot correct. All right, if you want to give me that as an excuse, but I don't get it for the guards. And
right, and I okay, so you want to look at the free throw shooting. There's a lot that comes in the free throw shooting as well, because you're running up and down the court, your heart is racing, you're sweating, sometimes nerves come into play. There's a lot that goes into it to where you have to then all of a sudden step to the free throw line and have a calming aspect to be able to knock down a free throw. Like a guy bring up, and I've mentioned him before, Keith, maybe on our show here, is we when we talk about Ben Simmons, like I personally, and I know he's going through a lot now, but he couldn't shoot in high school. When he couldn't shoot before he went to LSU, he couldn't shoot at LSU. Hasn't been able to shoot in Philadelphia. Can't shoot in Brooklyn. Like there does come a point in time where you're like, well, okay, the knock on him was unbelievable, can guard 5 positions, can run a team, can get to the rim, can finish at the rim, all those things. He's 6'10", he's got the handle of a guy that's 6'2", all those things, but he can't shoot. And you say, well, he's only 19. Like that can evolve. He can get better than that. Like that's the type of athlete where I look at, and basketball player where I just don't understand where it gets to the point it did down in Philadelphia, where you're not knocking down outside or consistently working on your game, to saying someone finding a shooting coach, doing all the work necessary to say, I want to be the best version of myself and working on my outside shot. So,
well, how about a guy like Rajon Rondo, right? When Rondo was playing with the Celtics early on, his 3-point percentage, 23, 24, 28, 25%. And then he got himself 43, 45, 40, 46, 40, 41, 40, 48. That's field goal percentage. But 3-point percentage, then he went 35, 36, 37, 33, 35, 32, 37, 43, and then 39% his final year. Like, he became a competent 3-point shooter where you couldn't just sit back and clearly he must have worked on it, or at minimum, he had the mental focus and fortitude to do it.
He couldn't shoot at Kentucky.
No, he was a brutally bad shooter.
Yeah, and he talked about it. He was a guy that was kind of an athletic freak. When you look at, what was Rondo, 6'3"?
That sounds about right. I could tell you if you.
He had like a wingspan of a guy.
6'1", they list him at.
6'1". His wingspan, I believe, was like 6'10", and he had like ET hands. He had these. He had
6'9" wingspan. Yep.
6'9" wingspan, and he had hands. I remember them talking about it when he was
9.5 inches were his hands, between 9.5 and 10.
They used to talk about his hands when he was at Kentucky, about just like that's why he was never a great shooter at Kentucky. So he's like a strange, crazy for an NBA player to have a 6'9" wingspan and only being 6'1".
Same size hands as Will Chamberlain.
Yeah, it's crazy. You think about that. I mean, that's insane. When you're looking at it, Wilt Chamberlain was 7'2", and you're 6'1", and you have the same size hands as Wilt.
Yep.
Betting on brand. Jessica will join us. We'll take a quick time out. Lauren the Better is going to join us as well before we bid you adieu on this Thursday. We've yet to hit upon the Super Bowl.
That's crazy.
I mean, it's crazy. Think about that. I nailed one thing. I said on Monday, would there be any kind of big-time headlines where someone said anything from either one of those teams? Nothing.
No. It's been
quiet.
Yeah.
Quiet. Nothing. We'll come back. It's Moose and Keith on a Thursday. Keith's fired up. Was that it?
Always
fired
Jeter
up. Shirt?
No, The Rock.
Oh, The Rock. Okay, of course.
This way.
Okay, look at
the Under Armour.
There it is. Yes. Yeah. Does it have the Brahma Bull anywhere?
Not on this shirt. I have that on one of my hoodies, though.
We're coming back.
I have so much Rock gear.
Then Lauren the Better is going to join us. It's Moose and Keith with you, Better Sports Network.
Green Screens Media back at it again with your BSN timeout. And today we're bringing you our college basketball bubble report. With me, as always, the captain of our ship at Green Screens Media, Mr. Mike Holland. Mike, Got a fresh Lenardi bracketology breakdown. His last 4 in are Kentucky, West Virginia, Nevada, and Oklahoma State. His first 4 out include Texas A&M, Florida, Oklahoma, and Charleston. Looking at those last 4 in, any of those teams catching your eye?
Yeah, I want to talk about the Nevada Wolfpack out of the Strong Mountain West here. Coach Steve Alford's done an amazing job reassembling this roster after losing Grant Sherfield, Desmond Cambridge, and Warren Washington. This team is top 50 in offensive and defensive efficiency. It's really been the progression of senior guard Keenan Blackshear. He's been one of the most improved players in the country. He, along with Oregon State transfer guard Jared Lucas, who's averaging 17 points per game, they formed one of the most underrated backcourts in the country. Look, they have a tough stretch down the road here, but anything can happen when your backcourt's playing this well.
That backcourt is rock solid. I want to talk about Kentucky. It's kind of weird to see them on the fringe given how talented they are. They're playing well in conference. They've won 6 straight games in the SEC. They've also got some pretty quality losses on their resume as well. And obviously, they've still got Oscar Tshiebwe, so that's always going to be working in their favor. But it feels like someone like Reeves is going to need to chip in a bit more offensively. Playing in the SEC, it's going to be a tough stretch of games to close out the year. But ultimately, if they can rattle off a few more wins, I think they can solidify their spot.
Yeah, I think Coach Cal knows what he's doing. I expect to see Kentucky in the tournament. Let's slide on over to the first 4 out. Texas A&M, also in the SEC. Coach Buzz Williams done a great job this year after slim preseason expectations. They have quality wins over Auburn, Missouri, Florida. Look, they've done it behind their guards here on offense, Wade Taylor and Tyrese Radford. But the emergence of big man Henry Coleman has been a big storyline here. They've been also very good on the defensive end. The road doesn't get any easier down the stretch here in the SEC, but 3 or 4 more quality wins in the final 8 should be enough to get them over the hump.
We will stick with the SEC. I'm going to talk about the Florida Gators, 13-10 on the season. It feels a bit more like an at-large kind of team. They're playing really strong defense. They're coming in ranked 10th in the nation in that regard. Still have Colin Castleton. He is the engine for this team on both ends of the floor, but I'm not sure if he by himself is going to be enough. So we're looking at players like Richard or Lofton or Jones maybe. One of these guys is going to need to step up. The good news for the Gators, they do have a chance to build their resume if they can heat up to close out SEC play. That will do it for your BSN timeout. Make sure you stay locked here on the Better Sports Network and check out Green Screens Media on Twitter, TikTok, and YouTube so you don't miss a minute of our college basketball coverage.
It's Moose and Keith
Good
with Mark
song.
Malusis and Keith Irizarry.
Down to Electric Avenue.
For our resident electrician is what Tony said in our
But
side
there's
chat.
certain songs that always, like, when you hear that song, no matter what, like, it just puts a
Down
smile on
to
your face. It just does.
Electric Avenue. What was the remember what was it something Boogaloo 2?
Electric Boogaloo.
Electric Boogaloo. Remember that?
Yes.
They were all dancing.
Yes.
That was the old
I
school
used to watch the movie. Who was in it? It was like a karate movie. Shogun. What was it
Just
called?
direct your pizza to Daddy Green's Pizza.
Yes. What is the name of that movie?
The Last Dragon. You want me to sing the song for you?
Oh,
You
yes.
are the last dragon.
so-
You
Leon.
possess
What's
the
his name? Leon?
power. Leroy of the glow. And he's like this at the end. Ah, kiss the Converse.
Yeah.
Who is the master? And he pulls his
about when
face
he
out,
goes-
and suddenly it changes from the water. He
What
goes,
about- what-
I am.
No, and he starts glowing.
Yeah, yeah.
great.
And it was this.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know the female. I'm blanking on her name right now. She recently passed away.
She recently passed away.
Yeah,
She was
yeah.
More
Yeah,
than a
show
little
enough.
attractive.
Who's the master? Show enough.
Yes.
And then when he walks in, he goes, "Could you show me some moves?"
Yes, I know.
And the brother was like, the kid turns to the brother and he was like, "Your brother's a square. He's not a square. That's my brother."
I know. It was a great movie. It really was.
Oh my god, one of the greatest bad movies of all time.
Yeah, I love it. I
That'll
don't
be
even
on
think
the
it used to be on like Channel 11 all the time when I was growing up. It used to be on like it was great. I loved it. Let's welcome aboard because we got Lauren Waden
Yes.
getting on brand. Jessica Brand is with us.
We'll sneak in a quick one here.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Let's welcome her aboard now. Good morning, Jessica. How are you?
How you doing, Keith?
Hey, no hello to Moose today. Nice.
No, I got cut off, but no, he didn't get to hear it, so too bad for him. So
nice.
All right, Jessica? What do you like? What do you have for us today?
All right, so these might not be on the board because they go fast, but one thing I found that I really liked in tennis today. This is not the one in Abu Dhabi. This is actually second round men's singles in Dallas. John Isner and the German American John Isner and Daniel Allmeyer, the German. So I saw a plus 155 on that for FanDuel for plus 1.5 there, and I have that good to plus 125. So that was really good value there. That's specifically at FanDuel, and you could arb that with DraftKings or MGM. They have the inverse at minus 145, so that's good there if you want to do that. Personally, because it's 155 versus like my 125, I think that's good enough to just play by itself. So I'm going to do that.
So Isner plus 155 plus 1.5. Okay.
Yeah. And then the other one we saw that was kind of interesting was the Bucks minus 9.5, currently at a New Jersey book. At Tipico, I have that basically good 40 again. That's really good value there in my opinion. That's about almost 7% plus EV. But you could get Lakers plus 9.5 and minus 146 at FanDuel. So again, you could try to arb that, and again, you're going to make a little bit of money no matter what. But both of those are so good. I'm just going to play them up straight.
Okay. So Bucks minus 9.5 and Isner plus 155.
Correct.
All right.
Beautiful.
Rock
Jessica,
and roll.
You're awesome. We'll talk to you tomorrow. Big Football Friday.
Excellent. All kinds of things planned then because I do all kinds of prep for the Super Bowl. Appreciate you guys.
All right.
Can't wait. Good stuff, Jessica.
There you have it. Betting on Brand with Jessica Brand. Let's welcome aboard right now Lauren the Better. Very active on social media. She's all over the place and about.
We're gonna have to talk about some of the fun stuff that she's been.
I'm glad she finally went to the bathroom on the road, which was fantastic. I was
what a journey that was for all of us,
Lauren. When I saw that tweet, because I was about to eat dinner, and then all of a sudden I see the picture of you being like, "It's happening." I'm going to the ladies' room, and I was like, "I don't know if I'm ready for my sandwich right now. I think I might need to take a little bit of time."
Normalize talking about poop. Come on, Moose. You gotta normalize it. Yeah. This is how activism starts. It starts with us.
Yeah, parents need to get people to understand that poop happens.
Yes. It does happen, and it's not uncommon for people to have a hard time going to the bathroom when they're on the road. It's like I don't know what it is. Like I don't know, it's the dehydration, or it's just like an evolutionary thing where it's like you're not
stage fright.
Yeah, it's like. But,
Okay, all right. So before we actually get into the Super Bowl, and then you also put us onto the world of hamster racing. How, why, what, where, when, all the question words.
So, okay, first off, I'm not like a normal mom. I'm like a cool mom.
Yeah.
So, cool mom got each of the kids a hamster. They're all male, by the way, because I know better.
Okay.
Don't mix and match.
Because you don't want to end up with 19 hamsters. Got it.
Yeah.
No breeding.
Yeah. So we got 3 hamsters. We've got Marshmallow, who's fat but fast. We have Tommy, named after Tommy Lee, by the way.
Okay.
And then we have, I won't go into details.
I was about to say, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then we got Burrow, which is a fun little play on words because it's like Joe Burrow and also like hamsters Burrow. So anyway, the kids really kind of got into doing different things with their hamsters. And then it just dawned on me of like, let's race this shit. Yeah. And I'm going to stream it and share to the world how cool hamster racing can be. And especially when you look ahead to, football season's ending, I'm not much of a baseball girl.
So what are the odds you place on the hamsters? Is Marshmallow who's the fattest but the fastest, or
Marshmallow was the favorite going into
see, I would have always bet on Tommy Lee.
Yeah. Well, turned out Tommy won. So obviously. Tommy was a long shot. Tommy's like the runt.
Did you say long shot on purpose?
Tommy tripped on himself.
Yeah. I'm just
Tommy tripped on himself.
Tommy had an unfair advantage.
Tommy, no, that's not. Tommy had right, exactly. Tommy is the tripod of them. Now he's got 5 legs.
Oh, God.
Anyway.
I'm telling you though, I was so I mean, like sometimes the things I do on social media is for my own amusement. Honestly, like I'm not doing it for any specific purpose other than like it's just like funny to me. And people like really got into that stupid thing. They were like, "Oh, I'm gonna put Tommy at this line," or like they, you know, some people got the exacta. You know, they listed the order of the three. It was just hilarious, but you know, gotta keep it interesting.
No doubt. So Lauren, so how are you attacking? Because Keith and I, we have not spent a lot of time talking about the Super Bowl. We get into the NBA, talk about a lot of different things, but how are you looking at attacking the Super Bowl on Sunday from a betting perspective?
Yeah, I mean, I'm into placing my bets early, but honestly, it's just been like oscillating so much on the lines. I mean, it's like flipped, the line keeps moving. I know Eagles are the favorite right now, but that's changed a few times. I think as we've gotten closer to the game, like what I really wanted to do was kind of wait out like what, you know, how healthy is everyone going to look? I know there's been some questions on Hurts, some questions even on Mahomes. It still seems a little unclear on Hurts. But despite that, I feel good about the Eagles. I think the line on DraftKings is like 1.5.
I think it's staying pretty consistent at 1.5 over the last 2 days.
Yeah. So I like that. I do like the under though. You know, that's moved, I think, a lot in the last couple of weeks as sharp money's come in, but I like the under on it. I think, you know, defensively, the Chiefs just aren't that great. You know, Hurts is probably going to run the ball a lot more than throw it. So, like, you know, you match that together. I think that's going to work out well for the Eagles, but I mean, we'll see. The thing that I've been mostly into is Super Bowl is, as you all know, I live in Scottsdale now. So it's just been this like nonstop action of just different activities to do between the Waste Management Open, Super Bowl related activities and all of that. So, you know, that's actually been a really interesting experience for me because it's a really humble reminder in terms of why bettors love betting, which is we love sports and we love the fanfare around it and we love the community around it. And so what's been cool just walking around even like, you know, Old Town Scottsdale, I'm going to downtown Phoenix later today, is you see jerseys from all sorts of NFL teams that are represented because a lot of people, they're like, they don't necessarily like the Chiefs or the Eagles. They just want to be here for the action. So again, I mean, like really good reminder in terms of just like betting is fun, you know, and I know a lot of people take it very seriously. Obviously a lot of the, you know, viewers here do, but it's a good reminder every once in a while, like this shit's just fun, you know?
How was it hanging at Radio Row?
Cool. It was really cool. I'm not a media badge holder, so I know I'm kind of living vicariously through some of my friends who are out there. So that's been fun. But you know, going out on Old Town Scottsdale, you bump into all sorts of people. So I've run into a lot of blue checkmark friends. I won't name their names, but it's been a lot of fun just kind of seeing folks out there out and about having fun.
And you met Portnoy, right?
I did. Yeah. Barstool has like a ton of events going on. It's been great. So Barstool Scottsdale is obviously in Scottsdale, but they've been doing a lot of live programming from there. So I just decided to go zip over there by myself and just fangirl in a sea of frat boys. So
yeah, I'm sure.
I felt very old. And it was like, oh yeah, I'm definitely getting old. As I'm like, you know, ripping my Diet Cokes and then going back home at 8:30 and then passing out on my couch.
But it all like it, you know, you're a mom of 3. Keith has 2 sons. I have 3 boys. Like it all changes. Like single Lauren or you know, no kids Lauren, no kids Keith, no kids Mark. Like is different than when you have kids. Like it all. Like now I get to 10 o'clock, 10:30 at night, Lauren. It feels like it's 2 o'clock in the morning because you're up at. My kids were up at 5:45 this morning.
It's crazy. It doesn't stop. But I mean, what's been cool is to pull them into the action for Super Bowl because of everything going on. So like actually today I'm going to take the 3 kids to the Super Bowl experience. And, you know, it's like, you can look at all the Super Bowl rings. You can look at, you know, you can kick a field goal, things like that. And they're stoked about it. They're like convinced they're going to run into Tom Brady. And it's like, you're not, but they're excited and they're, starting to understand kind of like what mom does and like, what mom really likes. And if nothing else, it's just a really cool experience. I mean, it's not every day that you've got the Super Bowl and waste management in your own backyard, quite literally. So, and then I ended up going to waste management the other day, and that was a ton of fun. I mean, and I'll be there Sunday as well, but that brings in a whole older frat boys, former frat boys. So it's like you've got this dichotomy of me hanging out with the current frat boys at Barstool Scottsdale and Old Town Scottsdale, and then the 50-year-old former frat boys.
We were talking to Dave Barnett of Tour Junkies yesterday, and Moose brought up the 16th hole over there at Waste Management. Did you get a chance to check that out?
Yes, I did.
And what does it look like in person?
It's very cool. There's a lot going on. Obviously, a lot of action, a lot of people. It's cool. It's a lot of people making questionable decisions too. So it's a fun, again, very fun to be mom Lauren, who's got to like go work in the afternoon for my day job and just sit there drinking Diet Cokes and just watching people make really bad decisions. Or you're seeing them, answer work emails or their Slack messages. And it's like, yeah, guys, don't do that. For that. Give me your phone.
So what are there? So you've been to Radio Row. You're going to be out at the golf this weekend. Have you attended any Super Bowl parties at night, Lauren?
Not yet. I'm working on that.
What part are you looking to get into?
There's a few that are pretty
What's the hot ticket?
cool.
Because there you've got you've got the commissioner's party is usually Friday night, right?
Yeah.
That's usually a pretty good one. Sports Illustrated used to throw a tremendous party. Obviously, they're no longer, but then you get all the agencies throw parties. So which one are you looking at?
Well, so FanDuel has a party where the Killers are playing.
Oh,
That's
nice.
cool. I think that's Friday night. There are some very VIP-ish type parties that I will never get invited to, but I know people who did get invited to them. So I'm kind of like working that angle of like, hey,
you don't think Sharapan can get you into something? Come on.
Sharapan can get you in.
That's true. He probably can. I need to hit him up. Maybe I'll see him today and remind him I'm here. I'm just like,
just be like Diamond Dave, Swaggy D. Let's go.
Help me out. I'll work it probably a little bit more in the next couple of days. It's like a matter of like, clinging on to the right people early on and then get the casual invite later. So I'll let you know how it goes. We'll see.
In our chat, Ernie is writing Maxim parties were life-changing.
Yeah, Maxim parties were great.
I'm sure those were quite life-changing.
Maxim was nice. Lee Steinberg used to throw a party.
Wait, hold on, Moose. Are you speaking from experience? Did you go to a Maxim party?
Yeah, Maxim parties are great.
Really?
Yeah,
look at Lauren's mouth just dropped.
I know. Oh, I'm like fascinated by that.
Yeah,
like,
I've been to the Commissioner's Ball 3 times. Maxim party. I was at an SI party where Snoop Dogg canceled at the last minute, and then Kanye West was the act, right? The Commissioner's Party in Detroit, Boys to Men was the group that did it. Yeah, it's unbelievable. The Commissioner's Party when we were in Miami was at the Miami Zoo.
Oh no!
So,
that's pretty cool.
Now, was all with Mike? This is all with Mike.
Yeah,
and
when I
Chris?
was producing Mike and Chris. Yeah,
okay.
When I was producing Mike and Chris, and would be down there all week long. So it was great. Yeah, it was fantastic. Had so much fun. Jacksonville, Miami, Detroit. Yeah, blast. Houston. Awesome. Been to 4 Super Bowls. Yeah, it's been.
What was your favorite Super Bowl city that you've gone to?
Houston was the first, so it's always. It's always the most memorable.
Yeah,
it's like Keith's shaking his head, but you get like Houston was the first time because I produced that week, so we had I think over the span of 5 days, I booked like something in the neighborhood of 70 guests. We had over 33 hours of live coverage. We were the only station in the country that week to get Brett Favre on the air. We got it was great. Russo and I got a guided tour of Minute Maid Park by the GM, Jerry Hunsaker, at the time of the Houston Astros. And then we just had a blast. It was my first time ever being at the Super Bowl, being down in Houston, was down there all week long, flew down on the Sunday, went to the game that Sunday. That was obviously the game where you had the whole thing with Janet Jackson and, the Justin Timberlake.
Oh my God.
Yes. And it was the Patriots and Carolina Panthers Super Bowl. It was unbelievable.
Oh my gosh. What a grind. you guys have the coolest job. I mean, like you're literally talking about what you did for work. You know, I mean, it's
but you know what? I don't know if they still have it. You know what's great about working like Radio Row and working behind the scenes is you build up relationships and you connect and all that stuff. But like afterward, they had a lounge that you could go to that opened up from 5 to 9 every night. And you went in there and it was free alcohol, like free soda. They had, they had chips, they had popcorn, they had pretzels, they had like, coffee if you wanted coffee, if you wanted a beer, they had beer, wine, this and that. Like, it was great. They had a bartender making drinks. Used to hang out there and BS about the day and just have a couple of drinks, then walk to the hotel and then go out to dinner. It was great.
Yeah, that's what it's all about, like it's such a small little world, like I can't even imagine like media, just like how small that actually is. But then, you talk about like the sports betting community, like that's not that big. Like you're running into the same people over and over again.
All the crossover. It's crazy. Like how small, like it's big, but it's small. Right. Like even Jessica right now is in our chat talking about how she tweets with you all the time. And
I love Jessica.
I love tweeting with Lauren. Honestly, always so kind and fun is what she wrote.
You know what I really love about Jessica and like so many of the women I've met on gambling Twitter is everyone's supportive of each other. Like that's awesome. Where it's like there's room for all of us at the table. Pull up a chair.
Yeah. Jessica is my lead researcher at MLB Network for Bettor's Eye.
She's awesome.
Yeah.
Oh, she is awesome.
She's taught me a few things that like angles in gambling that hadn't been in my mind, and now I know them. So yeah.
Hell yeah. That female perspective. Way to go, Jessica.
Yeah. Hey, so from a betting standpoint, let's spin it back to the Super Bowl. So you talked about, the Eagles. What about like player props or anything like that? Are there players, at least, even if you don't have a specific prop, are there players that you're monitoring and thinking about?
Yes, I do have a prop I like. I wrote some of these down.
God, I wish it would have been on a Post-it like a real mom.
I know. Where did I think it would have been awesome. I think I just bet it. I did have a few. See, I didn't want to touch any of the quarterbacks this game because it just, I don't really know what shape folks are in. But I'm pulling up my bet slip from my favorite mobile sports book, and I'll tell you what I actually put down. I actually put a few units down on Kenneth Gainwell receiving yards over 11.5. Got that at minus 120.
Okay. I see. I like his. What are his rushing numbers right now? Because that was one that I was looking at Gainwell on his rushing yards. I'm gonna pull that up really fast while we're talking.
I don't know what Gainwell is.
Yeah, I'll get it for it.
Lauren, do you have a specific lean in the game? You think it's going to be a great game? You think it's going to live up to the hype Sunday?
I think it is going to be a good game. I don't think it's going to be a shutout at all. I think, it's interesting. Like I was thinking a lot about just ahead of placing my bets of like, does Mahomes have an advantage just for having played in the Super Bowl before? Like, what's that do to the line?
But he hasn't been great in the Super Bowl, right? Like 2 touchdowns, 4 interceptions. So
right. Yeah. So it's like between that, and I actually was reading the stat, and I don't remember the stat off the top of my head, but basically it doesn't actually seem to have an impact returning quarterbacks on Super Bowl. Like, because I tend to think of things in terms of like the psyche of the players of like, okay, do they kind of know, they know that adrenaline feeling of a, Super Bowl, like, does that kind of calm them down? Whereas like a new Super Bowl entrant is, all over the place emotionally, but I mean, it ends up not being significant. Now, does it impact the lines at all? I don't know, but I just thinking about that, I didn't really give a lot of grace to Mahomes on having been a returning quarterback this time. But yeah, I mean, I think it'll be a good game. I foresee the Eagles leading the whole game, not by a lot, but like, I don't see a lot of back and forth. I think the Eagles will just lead that whole time. So we'll see.
19.5 for Gainwell on the rushing yards, minus 105, minus 110, most sites.
Nice.
Yeah.
Lauren, listen, enjoy Super Bowl week out there in Arizona. All right. All the best. We got to get you on again real soon. Good luck with all your plays.
Thank you. Talk to you guys soon.
Great stuff, Lauren. Thank you.
Great social media following.
Yeah, she's really fun.
And I just like the fact that that's a great statement. I'm not doing it for anybody else. I'm just doing it to have fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's great. Great mentality to have.
She's had a cool path into this. Obviously, gambling wasn't her route. Broadcasting wasn't her route. I think social media definitely has been something that has helped her path into this, and she's made a lot of great connections. And yeah, I think she's just fun, right?
Yeah, I think it's. I mean, there's so many avenues to go down now when you're looking at this space. When you're looking at and we're more on the Better Network and Better Sports Network than just gambling. We do a lot of different things here. But whether it be collectibles, whether it be just general sports talk, doing games, all those different things. And we want to hear from you. It was great in the first hour of the program where a number of guys like Jacob Asa and others were calling in, because that's what we want to do on a day in, day out basis, be more and more interactive. But if you're looking to try and crack into the industry, what you want to do is it's hard to separate yourself. And I think Lauren is doing a great job of trying to separate herself from everybody else.
I agree. All right. I'm pulling something up.
Yeah.
Let's do a Lucra. Let's do something. What do we want to do? I'll do a contest. I'll create a contest.
Let's do it.
Let's go. We'll go NBA tonight, right?
Yeah.
Let's go basketball. Here we go.
What do we have on Cam Thomas tonight?
Let's see if I can find something on Lucra on Cam Thomas. Let's to the Bulls and Nets. Cam Thomas. I could choose him. Doesn't give me one. All right, let's choose Cam Thomas, and then we'll give Zach LaVine against him.
Yeah.
All right, so Cam Thomas to go 19.7 points.
Okay.
You win so Cam Thomas to top 19.7, Zach LaVine would have to top 25.
Okay.
So I'll do that.
I like
Let
that.
me change I'm going to make it again. We're doing small bets here. So we'll do $1 here. Okay.
Okay.
So I win if Cam Thomas gets over 19.7. No. I need Cam Thomas to have more points than LaVine. Is Thomas going to score more than LaVine tonight?
I think he is.
Yeah.
I think he's on a heater.
So let's do it. Let's share this.
How could you not think that? He scored 40 or more points in 3 straight games.
Sure. I'm in.
I think he's a shooter.
I'm sharing the contest now. So if you guys want to play against me, boom, sending an invite. Awesome. I'm done. My tag is Keith, capital I, BSN. So if you want to get in, I just share that to the Lucra app. And you can play against me. I have Cam Thomas. You can have Zach LaVine. If you win, you have bragging rights over me, and you also win $1.
Jessica's all in on LaVine. By the way, can I just give you like a little because I was about to say the cliche that I hate the most. Ever people we all have certain word crutches,
of course,
especially when we do it on a day in, day out basis, or even at people say, or they'll pause or whatever it might be.
Yep.
You know what cliche I hate? Like when people say it
is what it is.
My wife hates that.
Yeah.
Like my wife can't stand when people say it is what it is. You know what one bothered me the other day? Shooter's going to shoot.
It's silly.
Because so a guy over at WPIX, we were talking about something, trying to get somebody to react to the Kyrie Irving trade. And he reached out to an NBA person, and that person said, no, unnamed, right? He said, well, shooter's going to shoot. I got to take my shot. I'm like,
Play is going to play.
I'm like, please. I said, it was like, please don't say that to me anymore. I hate that. That to me is one of those things where I don't like that. And my wife doesn't like it is what it is. There's other people and I've had cliches and word crutches over the course of my broadcasting career. And I've tried to, usher them out by putting little Post-it notes where I'm broadcasting from or whatever, and write those words down and make sure that I'm not using them in my vernacular and try and be as well-rounded as I can. But I hate when people say shooter's going to shoot.
To be honest, basically, I'm not even joking. With all due respect, giving it 110%.
Yeah.
The fact of the matter.
Yeah.
No. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I've probably used a lot of those over the course of my life, but yes.
At the end of the day,
yeah, no.
I turned around and said, it is what it is.
Yeah. Yeah.
If I had a microphone, I would drop it right now.
That's it. It's beautiful. It is what it is.
It is what it is.
When
did it is what it is because that became popular from something that happened? When did that become popular?
That's a great. I have no idea. I let me try and do a quick Google search. I don't know when is.
When did that become right? That I feel like something happened, and someone said it is what it is, like because it was a bad thing that happened, and it became a thing.
Okay. According to Google, it says, well, this is according to the Times, the phrase is what it is appeared as early as a 1949 article by J.E. Lawrence in the Nebraska State Journal. Lawrence used the phrase when describing the difficulty faced during frontier-era life in Nebraska. New land is harsh and vigorous and sturdy.
Yeah, I don't feel like that's where I got it from.
You weren't going back to J.E. Lawrence in 1949.
With all due respect, I disagree with Google.
J.E. Lawrence.
With all due respect.
Oh my God.
I ain't gonna lie. Oh, that's another one. I ain't gonna lie. So does that mean you normally lie? Austin says, to be honest, my older son says, to be honest, a lot. And anytime he says, to be honest, as a jerk, I always go like, or why were you going to lie to me? And he always shakes his head at me.
At the end of the day, Ernie said, at the end of the day, the British are coming. Paul Revere. I didn't even realize that.
Keep it 100.
I said the British are coming. My son was like yelling outside. I'm like, oh, you're like Paul Revere. He's like, who's that? I'm like, you'll learn.
Yeah, you'll learn. Alex was just learning about Japan today. He's got a quiz on Japan today.
Oh, look at that.
He had to do the map.
I love social studies as a kid.
He nailed it. We were studying this morning. So we were studying.
Beautiful.
Yeah. About kimonos.
Anyway, we got a big Football Friday show tomorrow.
Yeah, we're going to nail this.
Going to join us.
Yep.
We're going to give you side totals, X's and O's, give you some player props. It's going to be a Super Bowl 57 bonanza. We'll have Jessica join us as well, a little betting on brand. So a big Friday show. NBA trade deadline, we're just 3 hours away. Do you think we have another huge deal, Keith?
I mean, I don't think we can get something as big as Durant, but I think there will be a name that gets moved that is all-star level.
There you have it. Enjoy, folks. We'll be back with you tomorrow morning at 10. Moose and Keith, we out. Better Sports Network.